the most interesting things to me as I watch more and more Marvel movies is just how well they can engage your imagination. I think the best way to explain this is um, you're when you think about the story in the comic, like a Ghost Rider, it almost seems unimaginable, like something that you really can't even believe because of how far fetched it sounds, right? Where you have a stunt driver named Johnny Blaze who makes a contract with a demon named Mephisto, and and basically he becomes cursed, right? And then he turns into the Ghost Rider, a flaming skull riding on a bike, and with these supernatural powers, such as the penance stare, right? So on paper, these comic books, these stories, these heroes, these anti-heroes, they sound really far-fetched. Like, um, that you would have to be kind of crazy to even believe that these stories are even plausible. But that's where I think Marvel does a great job at kind of blending in these supernatural superheroes with, reality. Um, and, as an example with Ghost Rider, you see the human element in Johnny Blaze. I mean, the story starts out Johnny Blaze is this young kid who is doing stunts with his father, basically as carnies, and he finds out that his father has lung cancer, and that really kind of hurts him, right? Because he loves his father, and so you know, he wants to be a good son, and he wants to make his father proud. And so in the movie you see Mephisto appear basically out of nowhere, offering him this contract that he can heal his father's cancer. And it seems like almost too good to be true to Johnny Blaze. He kind of seems suspicious about it. Like, really? You can heal my father? Who are you even, right? There's so many questions. And, so he signs the contract with blood, basically, and kind of accidentally, right? Um, and so when that happens, he awakens to see his father, like, all cheery and happy, and he seems cured. So Mephisto, the demon, fulfills his end of the contract. But there's that small print, that clause, um, where, yeah, his father was cured from cancer, but he ended up dying in one of his stunts, right? And so that's really the crux of this story is Johnny Blaze becomes cursed because he wants the love of his father. He wants to save his father. Um, and you also see a human side of the story when you see his love for Roxanne, his girlfriend at the time, and he and so you think about what Marvel movies do well, in my opinion, is that they can balance these two aspects, where you have these characters, these superheroes, with that are multifaceted. They're not just one dimensional, right? They have stories, they have substance, and Johnny Blaze is exactly like that. He's like in the movie, he's a kid who wants to make his father proud. He wants to fall in love. He wants to feel these things, these human emotions, and unfortunately, he becomes cursed. He gets cursed, um, not as a result of greed, but as a result of love. Um, and so that's what Mephisto does. I mean, he goes around and he uses people's greed to their disadvantage, right? And to his advantage. He knows that people are greedy, so that they'll want he'll grant them their wish, whatever it is, but it's usually a greedy and a selfish wish. And this is not the case of Johnny Blaze, which makes him an interesting anti-hero and a story. And you go back to why a lot of these Marvel movies are so interesting is because they can balance those aspects really well in the movie. Um, and granted, I've only seen three recently: The Avengers from 2012, Ghost Rider, and Doctor Strange. But from these three movies alone, I can kind of understand how Marvel movies are portrayed, and why so many people like them and why they're so popular, right? Because they can balance the supernatural with reality. Because I think that's what was kind of keeping me away from even giving Marvel movies a chance, because it almost feels like a thing that that it's unbelievable. Like, oh, Iron Man, that's that he doesn't look like anything that's real. Captain America, he's in a suit, right, holding a shield. It's not really based in reality. But when you watch these movies, you sort of start to be like, that could be a thing. This story is almost has so many human elements, human touches, that this could be a thing. And so that's where I think Marvel movies are really great at blending the reality of human existence with these fantasy worlds that are created by these writers and directors. Um, and so that's where I think the big thing gets into. And, you know, thing to remember is a lot of these characters in these movies are just people's imaginations. Like, the people who created Ghost Rider, that's just someone's imagination brought to life. And it's like, it kind of makes you think that you could do the same. Like, imagine if you created a comic book character and then Marvel created a movie based on your character. How cool would that be? So I will say that I really enjoy Marvel movies recently. It's made me want to watch more origin type movies. Um, Ghost Rider, I think, held my attention for a good while. Um, and I think it had a great visual effects. Really cool, like, kind of a motif between good and evil, the dark demonic world, the underworld, and like kind of like the angel. Like, you'll see a lot of references to like religion and Christianity in the Ghost Rider film. Um, Highly recommend it. Great soundtrack, great score. Nicolas Cage did really well, and I had no idea Nicolas Cage was a Ghost Rider fan himself. He actually, um, you know, called the director and he basically let them know that he wanted to do the role because he was such a big fan, and that's how he got the part. Because I think other people were originally cast as Ghost Rider, like I think Johnny Depp and someone else. But he said it was like a dream come true to play the part because he has a tattoo also on his arm, which they had to cover up during filming. He has a Ghost Rider tattoo and several other tattoos, which I had not known about. Like, I did not know Nicolas Cage had tattoos. I did not know that he was like a ink kind of guy. And they covered it up pretty well. I'm pretty sure with like CGI and makeup. Um, I could kind of tell because like his body looked different from his like head in the movie, but yeah, that was kind of cool. The fact that I didn't know that uh, Nicolas Cage is a huge Ghost Rider fan. Something else interesting about this movie is that it got pushed back a lot. Like, the development started as early as 1992, but production and filming didn't start until 2005. And it was supposed to start in like the early 2000s, 2004, I believe, but it kept on getting pushed back for different reasons. Um, One of them was Nicolas Cage was also filming The Weatherman at the same time, which I saw recently. Also a great movie, kind of like almost like a super hero movie in itself, but not Marvel, obviously. But interesting to note, I had no idea that he was also filming Ghost Rider at the same time. Um, you have Ava Mendes in there. You have Peter Fonda as Mephisto. I think that he looked like a perfect part, Peter Fonda, for that role. Playing the devil was really, he just looked that part. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think this movie was great. I think um, the sequel, I haven't seen it yet, but a lot of people are saying it failed, and the third one is apparently canceled. And I think a lot of the times with these Marvel movies that have trilogies, where it's hard to, it's hard to make the, the second and third movie as good as the first. I think that's something that's very difficult to do when you talk about movies. But I think a lot of directors and studios try to do it because of kind of the traction they get on the first movie. And it's just easy to create a sequel than it is to start fresh with something new, I believe. But Ghost Rider um, is an interesting Marvel character because he's not as popular as Spider-Man or Wolverine, or the X-Men, or Hulk, but he's still a character in the Marvel universe, and I think making movies and bringing him to life in this way in cinema is awesome, because you also had video games. There was a video game for PS2, PSP, and Game Boy Advance based on the movie. So you had a couple tie-ins there, and it just put, I think, Ghost Rider in the spotlight, because I believe that the only people that probably knew about Ghost Rider were people who were reading comics, and I think when you have a movie, you reach a bigger audience, a wider audience, and now Ghost Rider is kind of like a mainstream, you know, superhero, anti-hero. Um, Very much like Spawn from DC Comics. Is Spawn DC? No, he's from a different one. Let me make sure. Spawn is from DC. I think no, Spawn is from Image Comics, but it's the same kind of story. So I really enjoyed it. I thank you to people who recommended me the movie, Dom and a few others like Urko. Um, but yeah, I'm looking to watch another Marvel movie. I'm not sure which one. Um, could watch Blade, but I will say I do like Marvel movies. I just, you know, I'm kind of getting hooked on them, to be honest. So thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed. Till next time, I'll catch you guys later. Take care.